Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Nerds podcast, and it's a good one. I've got a good smile on my face because Punjab have just beaten the table toppers Gujarat Titans, and they beat them very comprehensively. So we'll jump straight into the Gujarat innings. They chose to bat first, and so yes, Punjab lost another toss, but Punjab would have chosen to chase, so it worked out. Everybody was happy. And it turns out that Gujarat will struggle to set a total. So, Zach, do you want to just hop into the Gujarat innings for us?
Yeah, I think just firstly, they seem to. Well, at the toss, the captain said that it's Hardik Pandya, isn't it? He said that it was a bit of a tight call in terms of whether to bat or to field. And I think when they're in that position where it's a certainty that they're going to qualify, it's good practice to be able to defend a total in those conditions, because no one has actually won the toss and elected to bat first in a day-night game, or they haven't done that yet. So I think that was part of the thinking, is that they're so good at chasing, can they set a total? And what we saw is that David Miller and Rahul Tewatia, having to set a total, were a bit nullified. Sai Siddharthan was the only really standout for them. He scored 65 or 50, and no one other than Ridhaman Sahar got over 20. So he batted very well, and is another string to Gujarat's bow. And they've got some very good players in their side, ones who you didn't expect to do well and are doing well. But yeah, their finishers didn't really come to the fore. David Miller, Rahul Tewatia, Rashid Khan, nothing really from them. But I think Punjab bowled very well. Ben, what was your thoughts on Punjab's bowling?
I thought it was a very good bowling, actually. I think they just picked up good wickets at the right times. I think Rabada bowled like an absolute champion, picking up his fourfer. I think that was really, really important. But there was a bit of, it wasn't just Punjab's bowling that was good. It was their fielding that was good as well. Like Rabada was throwing himself all around the outfield, and I think he saved a good number of runs with his fielding. And then an important run out as well of Shubman Gill from Rishi Darwan. So I think like it wasn't only the bowling, but they backed it up in the field as well, which is so important when you're trying to restrict a team to a chaseable total. I was really impressed today with Liam Livingstone's bowling. I thought that for a man who's got like one of the worst economies in the IPL, I think it's like 11 or something this year, he looked really good. And also was able to pick up that wicket. Whether it was a difficult wicket to bat on first, who knows? I mean, it got a bit easier to chase. I think the dew factor really played a part today. There were people going around the outfield on their little scooters. And then the only other thing was a bit of a shame about Rahul Jahar's hand. But then Rahul Livingstone was able to pick up the slack. So I think that was okay. And then, yeah, I think Punjab were able to chase, but there was a change at the top of the order with Johnny Bairstow starting, which we've wanted to see. But James, do you want to chat us through that? How did that play out?
Not well. Yeah, Johnny Bairstow is not looking good at all. And as much as it pains me to say it, because on paper, he is in the best 11, but cricket isn't played on paper, and Johnny Bairstow looks awful at the moment. And even in his preferred position of opening the innings, 1 off 6, and as the other batsman showed, if you just stuck around, it wasn't too bad. And I think it might be time for Bairstow to come out and us to see maybe Benny Howell offer a bit more balance. But, that's just my opinion. And then once Bairstow came out, Rajapaksa came in and played a brilliant knock. Him and Darwan just, took the game away, really. They played very sensibly, but they capitalized on every single bad ball. So Darwan played a measured 62 off 53 balls. Some very nice shots mixed in there. Rajapaksa was a fast 40, strike rate of 142. And then Livingstone came in and hit the biggest 6 of I mean, I think it's of the IPL. It was 117 meters off Mohamed Shami. And when you saw it, you saw like dust fly off the middle of the bat. Like it was the sweetest sound. It was the sweetest connection. He barely moved. And yeah, it was just all timing and power. And then after that big six, he hit another one that was like 90 odd meters that looked tiny in comparison. And then like, you know, he hit a few like sort of top edges and stuff that were going to the boundary just because he was swinging so hard. So it was a brilliant knock from Liam Livingston. But you know, it's sad to see Bairstow struggle as much as he did. Just yeah, he's not quite there in his IPL mode anymore. What do we think about the Gujarat bowling?
Well, it's pretty much a problem for them because they were trying to defend quite a low total. So when you've got a team like Punjab who are definitely preferring to chase, and they've got big hitting batsmen, and they also want to get a better net run rate, because that's probably why Livingston was just going ballistic at the end. So for them, it was going to be tricky. Rashid Khan shows that it doesn't matter whether he's bowling in the first innings, the second innings, doesn't matter what the pressure's on, he still delivers. To only go at 5.25 and over is ridiculous. But yeah, the others, I thought they were okay. But when you look at Mohamed Shami, you think, yeah, he's a first innings bowler. He wants to win the game by taking early wickets in the power play, like he's done game after game after game. Whereas this time round, it's a bit different. And so I thought they didn't really bowl as tight lines as they could. Lockie Ferguson bowled a few wides. And so, yeah, that it was just...
And they were erring on the short side as well. So they weren't hitting those wicket taking lengths. It was quite defensive bowling, which when you're only defending 140 odd isn't good enough.
Alzari Joseph was potentially a bit too short today. Like you saw a few times, he just got uppercutted over the boundary when he was bowling his really fast bounces. And I think the whole time he was bowling back of a length, which is difficult to hit. It's almost like he's bowling a bit of a test match line. Like he's trying to almost, you know, hit the batsman to create pressure. Although that being said, yeah, I think that he could have, especially in this game, pitch up a bit more to try and, as you say, James, threaten the wickets. I know Rashid Khan, that you're exactly right. Like he shows he's at class all the time, but I'm wondering whether that was more so of a Punjab choice to try and just see him off. Like there were four other bowlers that they could target, especially like Pradeep Sangwan, who was getting smacked everywhere. Like I think that maybe they were just seeing Rashid Khan off, not in it. And it was the only way that Gujarat could win at that stage was if Punjab threw away silly wickets to Rashid Khan. And they didn't. Because of that, Gujarat couldn't defend that total.
Do you think there's, just thinking about this Punjab batting lineup, because obviously Bairstow's not in form, but I think one of the things I said from the start is that Punjab's weakness is really their replacements. And I'm just thinking if you were to take Johnny Bairstow out, then you could probably bring in a bowler. But then what about the Punjab batting?
Bring back Odean Smith.
Yeah, great. Maybe Prab Simran Singh. I don't know, give him a go, because he's probably going to do as well as Bairstow, if not better.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think that like Benny Howell does have pretty decent batting. And I would quite like to see him play. But you know, it does kind of look like we've got a decent bowling lineup now with Rishi Darwan offering that balance. So I don't know if it would then make the tail a bit too long having Howell in, because he is a lower order bat. But we've got a lot of top order batsmen. Like we've got top order batsmen until like 4 or 5. So I don't know. It might balance it out a bit more, because Bairstow isn't doing well.
Benny Howell is the Isham Perel of this season. He's going to come in and do badly for one game.
Yeah, he is. After I've hyped him up completely.
Get dropped straight away.
So let's move on to comment of the day, which is from Shivam Shah, who said, Is it me or James looks like Tom Holland and Sam Billings in one body?
Great comment.
Yes, I can confirm that is just you.
Yeah. So, it was purely the ego boost. That's the only reason I chose it as comment of the day. If you want to be comment of the day, just drop one of us a compliment and we are likely to choose it. And then we've got a new section, which is Cricket Nerds Questions. So
that's my intro for Cricket Nerds Questions.
Right. Okay. That's going to be the intro every time then. So, Cricket Nerds Questions. Our first question comes from Rikan Patel, who is an absolute legend. He's a long-time supporter of this show. And he said, a question to you guys is, since cricket season has started for you guys, if you had to describe your cricketing abilities and like compare it to one of the players currently in the IPL, then who would it be? Because we've seen some horrible performances by some players in matches when they should be warming the benches. I'm not sure what you're trying to insinuate there, Ricken, but lads, how would we compare our performances so far in the season?
We've actually done this before, and you guys have told me that I'm a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, which I'm going to take. I like Bhuvi. I'll go with it.
He swings the ball, but he can't swing the bat.
I'm going to say I'm an Ajit Rahane batting at about a strike rate of 82.
Yeah,
that's being generous.
Yeah.
And who am I?
Odin Smith.
Ouch.
Yeah, great. Odin Smith.
You've got the same bowling action. You do the windmill and go fast and try and swing a bat. We're just
wafting the air. I don't know. To be honest, I might be Benny Howell. I hype myself up a lot, but I haven't managed to get a game yet.
Nice.
Yeah, so, all James's games keep getting cancelled, bless him.
Yeah. So thanks for that question. Our next question is quite a long one, so you'll have to bear with me, boys. It's a bit of a story. And it's from PD. I've got a question for you, boys. Say a new promising debutant makes a big entry in the international arena for both Test and ODI by scoring an average of, say, 50 plus in both the formats on seaming, flat, green, and fast pitches. But in the next few successive outings, he gets to bat on a spinning track and fails miserably by scoring below 10 average in both the formats. Now he debuts in T20I, and he has to bat on a spinning track for his first few games. However, he scores a consistent set of runs with an average of about 30 plus on those spinning pitches, albeit he struggled on those said spinning pitches in the longer formats of the game. With newfound confidence, he bats again on those spinning tracks in his next ODI and Test outings, and again fails terribly with an average of below 10. How or why? Does the reduction of overs make a batsman gain more confidence? In my opinion, as a Test fan, more overs meaning more time to settle in the crease. Right, so it's quite a lot to digest, isn't it?
My question is, who is this player that he's talking about? Because this is very specific.
Yeah. I'm wondering whether PD is like, we need to look at the initials of Indian players to see if he's actually had an international debut and he's struggled on spinning pitches.
Praveen Dubey.
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be.
It's good to have you, Praveen. Sorry about your struggles.
It's an honor. So, it's an interesting question, definitely. I think the reduction of overs can make a batsman, get away with more. I think you can get away with being technically not as perfect in the shorter forms of the game, because there's a lower likelihood of the ball moving around as much for longer. There is a smaller space that the bowler can bowl. So you've got less to think about in terms of where it's going to be. In test matches, there aren't limits to sort of, how many bounces you can have in an over and stuff. And also, while more overs mean that you can settle in the crease, it also can build up pressure because your wicket matters so much more in a test match than it does in a T20. I don't know if you boys want to jump in on this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially like in a T20 game, I think you see a lot of like people swinging the bat around earlier because they know they've got batting to come. It's a little bit less in a one day because they will wait probably to the last 10 overs to do that because they want to have a partnership and keep the wickets, and even less in test and the longer format where you really want to bat for as long as possible. So yeah, I think it definitely has an impact on how you bat. I mean, Zach, you're the best batter here. So what do you think?
Well, I think it's the point on spin, which is the main thing, because it says that he struggles against spin in test matches or something like that. Now, when you watch spinners in a test match, they give it a lot more flight because they're trying to trick the batsman in the air with some drift and a bit of dip. Whereas when you've got a 2020 game, they like to fire it in. They don't really worry about spinning it. It's just more about stopping the batsman from being able to get under the ball. So there's massive differences in how spin bowlers operate in test matches and one-day matches. So, yeah.
There we go. Thank you very much for your questions. Please, in the comments below of this video, leave your Cricket Nerds questions and we will endeavour to answer as many as we can in the next video. It's a new section and it's got a funky little ringtone because Benji just sang it.
Do. I forgot what it is already.
The dance, that gets me.
The dance is the best bit. So don't forget to like and subscribe. We're still trying to push for our target of 300. So yeah, please subscribe. Tell your friends about us. You can listen to our podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, and many more. And follow our social medias. We are at Cricket Nerds Pod. Other than that, I think it's time for a prediction for tomorrow's game, boys. So
RCB.
It's a big one because it's RCB versus Chennai Super Kings. And I think that was you giving your prediction already, Zach.
CSK.
Right. So as an impartial third party, it is for me to actually say who it is going to be.
CSK.
All right. You two can shut up now. Basically, what we're seeing is an out of form but higher quality team against a lower quality but in better form, and they've got Daddy Dhoni back in team. So it's between Daddy Dhoni and Uncle Faf. And who do I choose? And I think it's going to be Uncle Faf to take the win this time. I think they're going to come back. Hashtag Uncle Faf if you watch this far into the video.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye.